The stakes are sky high for Ryan Day and Ohio State, with the season teetering on a knife's edge ahead of Saturday's clash with Penn State. Ohio State has allocated $41 million for the 2024 campaign, which includes $20 million for players, $10 million for Day, and $11.4 million for assistants. However, this investment could potentially fail before the first CFP poll is released. A loss to Penn State would leave the Buckeyes clinging to a slim resume, forcing the CFP selection committee into a dilemma. Can they exclude Ohio State, one of college football's biggest brands, from the first-ever 12-team playoff? Day's transformation of Ohio State's offense has only deepened the pressure. In a bid to beat Michigan, he abandoned the air raid system that had defined his tenure, bringing in Chip Kelly to push a more physical, run-heavy style. The Buckeyes spent big on running back Quinshon Judkins, center Seth McLaughlin, and mobile quarterback Will Howard. But the offense remains sluggish. Ohio State is averaging just 148.3 rushing yards per game in Big Ten play, a marginal improvement over last season's 139.4, and a recent injury to tackle Josh Simmons has further strained the offensive line. Day is currently facing a critical decision. His quarterbacks once averaged 41 touchdowns per season, but shifting the focus to the run has stifled that explosiveness. Even in last week's narrow 20-16 victory over Nebraska, Ohio State managed only 64 rushing yards on 31 carries. The risk to emulate Michigan's performance has not yielded positive results, and with Penn State approaching, the Buckeyes' prospects for the playoffs are in jeopardy. If Ohio State loses Saturday, its path to the CFP becomes murky. With Michigan still on the schedule, a two-loss Ohio State would likely miss the playoffs unless the selection committee exerts significant influence. But can they risk excluding the Buckeyes, one of the nation's premier brands, in a playoff debut meant to generate excitement? Even if the SEC cannibalizes itself, unbeaten contenders from the ACC and Big 12 could crowd the field, making Ohio State's case even harder to justify. For Day, this weekend's game could be a pivotal moment in his career. A victory changes the course of events and ensures that everything remains in the balance, including the Big Ten title, the CFP, and even the possibility of a national championship. A loss? It might just mark the end of the Ryan Day era at Ohio State. The Weekly 5 here are the 5 most impactful games of November that could shape the playoff landscape. Tennessee at Georgia, November 16. The match between SEC Titans has the potential to redefine conference dominance. Georgia's playoff aspirations are on the line, while Tennessee looks to prove it can compete at the highest level. Ohio State at Penn State, November 2. This game is pivotal for both teams, especially for Ohio State's playoff. Their season could spiral out of control, making this a must-win. Texas at Texas A&M, November 30. This rivalry matchup always carries significant weight. Both teams are looking to solidify their postseason credentials, and a win here could change the trajectory of their seasons. Kansas State at Iowa State, November 30. This late-season showdown could impact the Big 12 standings and playoff implications, as both teams are vying for position and momentum heading into bowl season. Clemson at Pittsburgh, November 16. Clemson needs to prove itself against a challenging opponent. A strong performance is crucial as they aim to maintain their ranking and secure a spot in the playoffs. An NFL scout's take on East Carolina CB Shavon Revel Jr. An NFL scout provided insights into the draft-eligible player, wishing to remain anonymous. You've got a unique situation. He tore his ACL in September and will likely be a couple of months from a full recovery during the draft. Before the injury, you could argue he was the best cornerback in the draft. He's 6'3", long and physical. He's a flat-out burner. Everyone heals differently and every ACL injury is unique. How early in the first round do you take him? He could potentially be selected in the first 16 picks. He's that talented when completely healthy. Power Play. Notre Dame enters the field. This week's CFP Power Poll showcases 4 teams from the outside looking in, accompanied by a significant revelation. Georgia. Few teams can go on the road, throw 3 interceptions, and still win by 15. Oregon. If the Wolverines control the pace, the upcoming Michigan game could be challenging. Miami. Their final month includes tough matchups. If they aren't 12-0, something's gone wrong. Brigham Young. 2 weeks to prepare for a holy war against a struggling Utah team. Ohio State. After defeating Penn State, they could potentially face Oregon again in the Big Ten championship. Texas. An open week allows QB Quinn Ewers to recover fully from his core injury. Penn State. The potential absence of QB Drew Allar could be a significant factor against Ohio State. Tennessee needs to improve their passing game to prepare for Georgia. Texas A&M. They face a dangerous South Carolina team that excels at running the quarterback. Notre Dame. They cannot afford another loss if they hope to reach the CFP. Indiana. This is a challenging road matchup against an improving Michigan State team. Boise State. Monitor QB Maddox Madsen closely. Despite his diminutive stature, he plays a crucial role for the team. Iowa State. When Texas Tech QB Baron Morton is on, the Red Raiders can surprise anyone. Clemson. We'll learn a lot about them after their game against Louisville. Kansas State may not excel in one area, but they're unbeaten in close games. Pittsburgh. Their goal should be to disrupt electric SMU QB Kevin Jennings, as Duke did last week. Know how wonderful Miami is? Will we know even if they're 13-0 after running through the ACC? David Drake, Orlando. Miami resembles the 2021 Michigan team, young and talented, figuring out a championship run for the first time in years. This doesn't mean they play like Michigan, they don't. However, they can present challenges for anyone. The Michigan team suffered a loss in late October and had not defeated a ranked team until the regular season finale, when they ended an 8-game losing streak against Ohio State. The key difference is Miami's quarterback, Cam Ward. He's dynamic and can change games with a single throw, unlike Michigan's caregiver, Cade McNamara. With Ward, Miami won't get blown out this season. Numbers game. We're on the verge of a championship Saturday, where all 8 Power Conference teams playing on the last weekend of the regular season might be locks for the CFP, regardless of their outcomes. Yet the 4 conference championship games in the SEC, Big Ten, ACC, and Big 12 will still carry immense significance for the 12-team CFP. Why? It's all about seeding. Winners earn first-round byes, and losers could slip enough in the final CFP rankings to miss hosting first-round games. Championship games are far from losing their drama. They've become crucial for playoff seeding and will spark significant controversy. The last word, Army's CFP hopes. If Florida State had a strong case for the CFP last year, imagine the angst you'll feel if the Army finishes 13-0 as the American Conference champions. The Cadets would have an undefeated record in a less competitive conference than Boise State and would have secured a better victory against Notre Dame. Monitor the CFP poll closely. Boise State will likely top the rankings among Group of 5 teams, with Army trailing in the second position but much lower overall. Just one win against Notre Dame on November 23rd could propel the Army to the number 12 spot in the CFP poll, regardless of Boise State's performance.